lost along the way, but he can bring us home. Remember him throughout the year. Without the star above, he left us all a Christmas gift. He left the gift of love. The Christmas star shines once a year, and then it fades away. Keep the spirit in your heart, and it's Christmas every day.
Does he not?
Billions and billions of miles.
For that. Here's Johnny.
What a surprise. I thought you were off tonight. Now, what I usually do when I come back from vacation, I start to rush everything. True?
Yes.
Year after year, I want to get it out quick like you won't notice it. So they said, just take your time tonight. How are you? I'm still on vacation time. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, it's nice to see you.
Well, he hasn't changed, has he? I'll tell you the reason I came back. I miss working. I really do. I get kidded a lot about being off the show occasionally. Man, you're part of it. But another problem was, Freddie DeCordova was running out of guest hosts. He was down to taking out ads in the L.A. Free Press. You know what the L.A. Free Press? Put an ad in last week. It said, wanted exhibitionists who will do it for little money in front of a large crowd. Everybody in the world was hosting. I tuned in one night. I think I saw Mr. Rogers. But you sure?
Turned it down.
He turned it down. No, I was Mr. Rogers. He was interviewing sex therapist Dr. Ruth Westheimer. And he was saying, can you say foreplay? That had to be Mr. Rogers. Dick Cavett was here. I want to thank Dick. Dick's an old friend. We come from the same part of the country, in the Midwest. And Dick, as you know, has been on PBS for, I guess, about 5 or 6 years. And he had guests like John Kenneth Galbraith. He'd have Alexander Haig, Casper Weinberger, Lillian Hellman. He comes on our show. He had Charo and Slappy White. Big change for Dick. A lot of you out of town out here on vacation. It's a great time of year. You will see things in Southern California you will see nowhere else in the world. The country is a little bit tilted, and all of the flakes all end up here. There is a church, for example. Church in Beverly Hills. It has a sign out front that says, "Do not sin, severe soul damage." That's what it has. Where else would you see that? I'm sorry I saw it. By the way, I talk about a nice time of year. We do have another smog alert today. We have out here a group called the Air Quality Management District or something like that, and we have 3 stages of smog alerts. Are you familiar with that? Let me explain how they work. In the first stage smog alert, you drop dead. That's the first one. Then they get worse. Second stage is they take your body over to the UCLA Emergency Hospital to see if they can stop you coughing. Third stage is they sell your lungs to Occidental Petroleum to produce shale oil. Bad weather. Speaking of the weather out here, did you see this, what the Soviet Union is complaining about? They are protesting. As you know, the 1984 Olympics are going to be held in Los Angeles. Soviet Union is protesting that their athletes will not be able to compete here in L.A. because of the polluted air. Well, I guess, does that mean they're not coming?
They're coming.
They're coming. The Russians are demanding that Reagan let them build a pipeline of oxygen to the L.A. Coliseum, but I don't think it'll go through. Isn't this back to school week? How many of you have kids that went back to school? Nobody has kids, or? I get sentimental this time of year. Do you remember going back to school?
Certainly.
What? What are you laughing at, Fred? I do. Don't you remember? Didn't you like to go back to school
I
after
loved it,
vacation?
yes. Yes.
Tell all the kids, you know, how I spent my summer. I grew up in Nebraska, and I can still remember, especially if you've been going with a girl in school. You hadn't seen her all summer. And I remember I had a crush on this little girl, and I hadn't seen her all summer. Her name was Laverne DeMamory. And she was an early bloomer, and she was, you know how some girls develop very quickly and other girls feel badly because nothing happens till they're seniors? Yeah. Well, for Laverne, 9th grade overnight, wacko. She was a little top-heavy. Let me put it this way. How top-heavy was she? Laverne wore high heels, but she wore the high heels in front. I did like Laverne. A lot of things that happen. I've been trying to follow the political campaign here in California. We have an exciting campaign between Governor Jerry Brown and Pete Wilson. I kind of yearn for the old days. Politicians had names with a lot of substance. Theodore Roosevelt, Ulysses S. Grant. We got Duke and Pete. Sounds like a kennel, doesn't it? Duke, Pete. But here in the Valley, we have a tough law and order candidate right here in the Valley called Nuke Magian. Nuke has caused quite a stir in the gay community with a new tough law he proposed: buy a Judy Garland album, go to prison. Really so. Did you see the picture, the paper yesterday of Yasser Arafat leaving Beirut? Yasser Arafat said, and I quote, "He and his men were leaving Beirut in victory." In the same sense that Argentina left the Falkland Islands in victory. Actually, he kind of left in Actually, Arafat left in disgrace. The crowd stripped him of his towel and forced him to wear a handy wipe. How many of you have got that tax increase we were supposed to get? Weren't we supposed to start getting some kind of, not the tax increase, we were supposed to get a little refund? The president, as you know, has done a turnaround, and we have now another tax increase. But Reagan does not refer to it as a tax increase. Have you noticed? He calls it revenue enhancement. I love those government euphemisms. Reagan also refers to as an unemployed person as a leisure time practitioner. What do you do? I was a leisure time practitioner. Yeah. Some sad news. Robert Young was retired as the chief spokesman for Sanka brand coffee. I know how you feel. Apparently, he didn't know about it. He showed up for work and says, Bob, we don't need you anymore. Bob says, hey, what's wrong with my favorite advertising agency? Why don't you try something? He's going to be... Who do you think their new spokesman is? Alexander Haig. I'm in charge here. You'll all drink Sanka. Wow. Good work. Oh, you're good tonight. Good group tonight. Now I'm feeling better. How many here? Can anybody tell me what the hell is going on in the stock market? I know little about the stock market. I don't think there are two economists in the country who can understand why it's been doing this roller coaster ride. Apparently it went up to, what, 130 million shares last week or something? I know nothing about it. I'm not in the stock market because I have a brilliant financial advisor, Bombastic Bushkin, put me into glass eyes years ago. But Bushkin, I will say, has put me into some really lucrative investments. I have the first NFL expansion franchise in the Galapagos Islands. I'm a sole distributor of starch blockers in Pakistan. Yeah, and I just bought a cable TV network that puts on chess 24 hours a day. Really great stuff. I have one other item, some shocking news. Does this name mean anything to you? Kathy Lee O'Donnell? Okay, let me explain who she is. It was in the paper. She is the current Miss Nude Ohio. All right, now. She was disqualified, Miss O'Donnell was, from competing in the Miss Nude America because the judges claimed she had had her bust line surgically altered. No, I agree with the judges. I mean, the Miss Nude America pageant is a tradition, and to demean a fine event like that, you know, to lower the standards of that event, is terrible. Shouldn't be tainted by scandal. We have an exciting show. Later on, President of the Bechtel Corporation will be out here and tell us that he's going to allow Americans to have their own state on the west side of Rodeo Drive. Joe Garagiola is here with some blooper film from baseball and talk about it. And a new young comedian, I think, making his first appearance on our show tonight, right? Bill Maher is here, so stay where you are. We shall be... Thank you. We're back. I always get a pleasure in introducing new comedians to the show because, as Doc probably knows, comedy is probably the most difficult commodity to come up with in our business. And he's making his first appearance on national television. Bill appears regularly at both Catch a Rising Star in New York City and at the Improvisation. Would you welcome, please, Bill Maher. Bill.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is a great crowd. Do you know that? It's terrific. Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say to the folks here in the studio audience, if you could face this way, but so you look good. Yeah, nice to be here. I actually drove out here, which is quite an experience. You know, I think the roads here are not that safe anymore because there are so many people who have to speed just to get their job done. Did you ever see these Federal Express drivers? Whoa. These guys are under a lot of pressure, I'm telling you. Boy, when it has to be there overnight, old ladies in the crosswalks don't mean a hell of a lot. Get your grandmother off the road is this one. But I like that spirit, you know, it's an American spirit of rugged macho. I like that, you know. Pony Express, it's like. I like political macho. I love Reagan when he's tough with other countries, you know. I think we need that around the world. Don't you think so? Get tough with other countries? Like if the Russians try to take over one more country, I think we should do something tough. I think we should blow up Chicago. And then tell Brezhnev, hey, that's what we do to a city we like. Yeah, I don't like that guy, Brezhnev. He's a communist, and he's an ugly-looking one, too. Did you ever see the guy? Looks like he tripped and stubbed his face, I'm telling you. Which is not surprising. Have you been following in the papers how close he is to death? I mean, he's not long, and I'm telling you, this is a... Don't applaud that. Which is a scary thought, because he's an absolute dictator with his finger on the nuclear button. I mean, you know, that's a scary thought to picture, a dying man with his finger on the button. What if he's a misery loves company sort of guy? And there's no means of succession over there in Russia either, you know. I mean, there's no vice dictator. When he goes, they all just get in a ball on the office floor and wrestle for it. 75-year-old men biting each other. It's a macabre scene, I'm telling you. At least we have a means of succession over here. We have Vice President Bush, who I must say is a tough job, too, because, you know, he's tempted. He's a heartbeat away from a guy who's not that young himself, Reagan. I mean, that's got to be a temptation. I wouldn't be surprised if Bush goes around the White House trying to scare him. Boo! Thank you. But I kid the communists. My parents are actually immigrants, and if I may say, my one wish in this business is to be able to make enough money to hopefully someday send them back behind the Iron Curtain. I kid because I love, and I think you know that. Yeah, no, I do. I come from an ethnic heritage. I come from a mixed marriage, which means my mother is Jewish and my father is Catholic. That is the truth. I was raised Catholic formally. Although I must say the Jewish mind comes out, even in the Catholic system. Give you an example, we used to go into confession, and I would bring a lawyer in with me. True. You know. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I think you know Mr. Cohen. But I kid religion, but I go back to the church often. I find it very comforting. And, you know this, they're modernizing some of the things. Amazing. For instance, when you go back now, I don't know if you know this, but when they serve the wafer in communion, they also have a salad bar. Kind of an amazing... But it's important to talk about religion, I think, because it makes you think big, and I mean real big. I mean reach for the stars big, you know? Nothing else can do that. I mean, they taught us the biggest. Jesus Christ died for all of our sins. Now, it doesn't get much bigger than that. I mean, that's what I call picking up the check for the whole table. And religion makes you do things that nothing else could make you do. Circumcision. I mean, we're used to it now. I'm thinking about the first group of people to hear about this. You know. It's true. No. I gotta think Moses came down with this concept. There had to be one guy going, let me get this straight. Are you sure you heard him correctly now? What, is he talking through that burning bush again? Anyone could. Look, I think I gotta be out of town that day. I'm in Bethlehem on a thing, but, not easy being born, I tell you. Naming a kid, I often think must be one of the roughest chores of parenthood, you know. Some people have solved this problem. You know this? You ever meet Swedish people? Swedish people, the names are very severe. They're very guttural. Sven! Okay. You know, take it easy. Gunther. I found out what this is. Swedish mothers give the name of the child as they're giving birth. It's true. It's an amazing phenomenon. During the actual delivery, whatever grunting sound, oh, that! Bjornborg! It's the name of the child. Sometimes it's an easy birth, Uskadu.
My next guest, who does NBC's baseball game of the week, Joe, as you know, is a former catcher who's one of the most energetic and popular sportscasters in sports today. Would you welcome, please, Joe Garagiola. The young comedian's comment about you must also apply when you were born. Your mother, Garagiola. That would almost be the same.
He was funny, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was great. He was
How
great.
are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, so we don't get too far behind.
Okay.
The pitcher, Gaylord Perry, is in the news a lot. He was ejected, he was set down for what, a 10-day?
First time in his life that they accused him and caught him of throwing a spitball or applying foreign substance.
Now, what does that do? A lot of people don't know.
Well, first of all, it made me laugh because it's like blaming the Johnstown flood on a leaky faucet. I mean, we got a ton of things wrong with baseball, and they get this guy. First of all, John, the spitball's been around, okay? Now, the thing that I like about it is how they hide it, what they do with it. For example, if they board everybody that does illegal things, for example, there's a guy pitching now who wears a Band-Aid. Same finger is always bad. But he cuts out the center of the Band-Aid, puts a little sandpaper in there, marks the ball.
Well, what does that do to the ball?
Well, it looks like a fastball and then drops.
Just because of the little doctoring?
Well, it's cut.
Oh,
I guess the wind resistance. The Oakland pitchers, they used to check their pants there because they put detergent there. And then they would get a little wet and throw it, and the ball would shoom. I saw Drysdale throw a spitball. You could see the rainbow from the mound to home plate.
All right, I'll buy that,
I mean,
Joe.
that kind of thing.
No.
But it's how they hide it. I mean, they do things with bats, put cork in bats.
Right.
We had a pitcher, I caught spitballs. I laugh about it.
Right.
Some guys are smooth. They would wet their fingers and wipe it, wet their knuckles and go like this. And then what they would do is wet here and wipe the knuckles. The fingers are dripping, right?
Right.
The knuckles are dry. And then you throw it, and the umpires know what's going on.
Right.
So you stand up and you say, that was a spitball. Umpire says, that's right, strike two. So, I mean, but the thing where they hide it.
Right.
Now, see, I brought a piece of film.
Okay.
I interviewed Gaylord Perry, and I said, where do you hide it?
Let's roll
Now,
it.
they roll the film,
Okay.
and watch where he hides it. Neil, you're a
You mean
fan.
he's actually admitting this now?
Oh, he tells me exactly. Now, listen.
Well, you know, the place that I had so good before me and you got together, you know, here, pictures tie their shoes out there, and a great place to put it, Joe. You're 6 foot 6 inches away from anybody, so you can put it right under here as you fold the thing over. You got it. Then you can come up here in your sock here, under your pants here. Good place where it can always be hidden away from anybody. Then you come up, and this uniform's got a couple places, a storage area.
Storage area.
Right here? Yeah, good storage area here. See there? You can put enough there to last 10 minutes.
Okay.
No problem.
You got it there.
Change the design of that for the year. Then you can come up here. Good place to put it. If somebody comes out looking, you just do that.
How do you like that?
Now, does this really
Most of us
drop?
call it a belt. He calls it a storage area.
Do we have time for this little? We don't have time
We
for the
don't
blooper
have
thing.
time.
We'll save it for next time.
No,
these were.
Run it right away.
All right, run it
right
right now.
away,
Put it
away.
on. Run
These
it,
are
Bobby.
just bloopers.
Hit it. Watch it.
Nothing is set up.
Just
He's actually having
silly things. Watch.
Watch. Run it right away.
All right, what's happening here?
Rowley fingers, just watch.
Okay,
I mean,
fly
it's
ball.
just a nice pop fly. These guys are making a lot of money.
Oh, my God.
And there they go. Watch this one. You get it.
You little leaguers, keep your eye on these professionals now.
Oh, catch this one. Whoops. Ups. Go in the stands. Here's one I like. I don't want it. No, right there. Stab it. Get it. Kill it. Oh, I love this one. He steps out, so he just throws it away. He can't get it at all. Ooh. Over here. That's a major league error right there. Twice he had it. That's why his body takes a bad hop. Watch.
Okay.
Right through the legs. Nice.
Okay.
This is a good play. Now just sit down if you can't catch it. That's it. Watch the ending of this, John, at first base. Tuk, tuk, tuk. Look what he...
Wow. Wow.
John Marlowe, does he not?
Billions and billions of miles.
Here's Johnny.
What a happy crowd.
Nice crowd.
I think you're a little too happy. I don't know what you're so happy about. Where were you when 1982 hit the fan? I tell you, if the monologue dies tonight, we are dressed for it. All rental jobs?